Coming up on KOTA Territory News at 5:30 as the nation braces for a government shutdown, Senate Majority Leader John Thune weighs in on the situation. Plus, Senator Mike Rounds introduces a bill that would remove the statute of limitations for certain crimes. We'll have the details on that. And the fate of the Liberty Land project is now in the public's hands. Your news starts now.
From Skyline Drive, this is KOTA Territory News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Jack Cottle. The Liberty Land Tax Increment Financing District is going to a public vote. Rapid City's Finance Office made that announcement this afternoon. Petition organizers turned in 314 petitions on Friday. They needed a total of 2,572 signatures to refer the TIF to a public vote, and the Finance Office verified 4,326. And now goes on to Monday's Rapid City Council agenda to set a date for a special election that could come as early as mid-November or as late as next June's Rapid City municipal election. The Tax Increment Financing District has been a hot-button issue with the City Council for months. The Council gave its final approval earlier this month. Senator Mike Rounds is trying to remove the statute of limitations for certain murder charges on federal and tribal lands. Rounds introduced a bill that would remove the statute of limitations for non-capital homicide cases, including second-degree murder and for the murder of federal officials. The bill is called Kamisha's Law, and it's named after a toddler who Rounds says was found brutally murdered in her bed in 1992. The crime went unsolved for more than 30 years until witness testimony led to the prosecution of her killer. The statute of limitations for second-degree murder in the case had expired. The man, as part of a plea deal, pleaded guilty to voluntary manslaughter and was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Kamisha's mother and her husband expressed their thanks to Rounds for bringing the legislation forward. Senate Majority Leader John Thune delivered remarks to the Senate floor today ahead of a potential government shutdown. Thune advocated for his Democratic counterparts in the Senate to support a short-term funding extension. If passed, the extension would provide government funding until November 21st. Thune described the resolution as nonpartisan and labeled Democrat opposition as politically motivated. Thune said Senate Democrats are committed to shutting down the government despite working to avoid similar situations during the Biden administration.
It's not that the problems with the shutdown have changed. All those quotes that they said, I assume maybe they still believe them. It's that the Democrats' far-left base and far-left senators have demanded a showdown with the president.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer made similar arguments today, saying, quote, Republicans would rather shut the government down than protect your health care, unquote. The government shutdown will begin at 10 p.m. Mountain Time tonight unless the Senate passes a resolution. Was a warm way to end September. How long will the heat stick around with us in October? Chief Meteorologist David Stradling is here to let us know. Kind of getting used to this a little bit out there.
Yeah, the heat, you're starting to get used to it. We're going into October, likely going to be starting off in those 80s as well, and we're enjoying some sunshine right now. This is the view from our Golden West tower cam at Granite Automotive. Yeah, the sun is making it a little difficult to see. It's that time of the year where it may be tough to use this camera shot for a while, with the sun being right into the view of it. As we look at our first alert Doppler radar, it's mostly dry for many in KOTA territory. There have been a few showers in the Sheridan County area near the Bighorns a little bit this afternoon, but temperatures, they're still in the 70s out towards Sheridan, Wright, Newcastle as well. Edgemont at 70, but Hot Springs and much of the rest of South Dakota are holding steady in the 80s right now outside of the Black Hills. We'll fall down to 60 tonight, many others in the 50s, and for tomorrow, 80 degrees. It's going to be warm, just not as warm. We'll talk more about the heat to end the week coming up.
Thank you, David. The woman accused of setting her ex's house on fire was denied bond modification in 7th Circuit Court today. 55-year-old Amy Couture of Rapid City was arrested for first-degree arson in July, accused of setting a house fire on St. Charles Street. Couture also allegedly sent threatening messages to the homeowner before the fire. Her bond is set at $50,000 cash only, which her attorney called a little extreme. After asking for a lower bond, Judge Jeffrey Connolly denied the request due to the nature of Couture's charges. The maximum penalty Couture faces if she's convicted is 25 years in prison and a $50,000 fine. A political shakeup could be underway in Deadwood after a petition to recall City Commissioner Blake Joseph officially met signature requirements. The petition accusing Joseph of misconduct, abuse of office, crimes in office, and gross partiality was submitted on Friday. This comes after Joseph was charged with a Class 2 misdemeanor in August of 2024 after allegedly hitting a firefighter with his car. Joseph was also charged with failure to appear, a Class 1 misdemeanor after skipping a court date in August. He entered a plea of no contest to the 2 misdemeanor charges in 4th Circuit Court on Monday. Under South Dakota law, the petition needed signatures from at least 15% of registered voters to trigger the recall process. With that threshold confirmed, the city must now formally consider the petition at its next meeting on October 6th. A special election to replace Joseph could follow if the process moves ahead. In a statement this afternoon, Joseph said in part, "I remain undeterred. I stand with the people of Deadwood, and I will continue working for transparent, fair government and a real solutions that serve our community. What we're seeing is not governance, it is lawfare, and I am confident the truth will prevail." Rapid City is gearing up to the future, and today's Public Works Committee meeting marked a major step forward. Megan Moore, the Senior Associate Planner at Logan Simpson, unveiled Rapid City's 2025 Comprehensive Plan, a vision guided by thousands of community voices for how the city will grow over the next decade. Since the last plan in 2014, the city has grown nearly 20%, bringing new businesses and community amenities, but also creating challenges, including stretched infrastructure, rising housing costs, and traffic concerns. Moore and her team say Rapid City population will continue to expand. They say the 2025 Comprehensive Plan will work to support the growth.
We're expecting additional growth, and how and where we grow. I think each of the chapter topic areas, housing, transportation, parks and recreation, those are all quality of life factors, and that's really what this plan centers around. We're really excited, as I've been saying, to start the real work, after we get this through the public hearing process and get it adopted, to really start the work of implementing the plan.
The plan will move to tomorrow's Legal and Finance Committee meeting, and the City Council will consider its adoption at their next meeting on October 6th. Most of Rapid City public parks will have their bathrooms closed for the winter beginning tomorrow. Exceptions include the bathrooms at Skyline Wilderness Park, Founders Park, and Canyon Lake Park West. Those bathrooms will remain open with adjusted hours from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Sioux Park's restrooms near the playground will remain open through the end of October, and the stadium's facilities will be open during scheduled events. In addition, the Memorial Park band shell will be fenced off in mid-October. Portable restrooms will remain open at several parks around Rapid City. Was a relatively warm day for fall. Is anything on the way for tonight? We'll let you know in your accurate First Alert forecast coming up later. But first, State Representative Mike Derby looks to our northern neighbor state for inspiration on the future of South Dakota's prison systems. That story's next. State Representative Mike Derby says South Dakota should be looking to its northern counterpart for ideas on the state's prison system. KOTA Territory's Blake Trolley reports a key stat is leading Derby's idea.
Last week, lawmakers in South Dakota approved the construction of a $650 million prison in Sioux Falls. Governor Larry Roden, who gave the new prison his final approval, also created a task force to determine how to expand rehabilitation services at the prison. State Representative Mike Derby, in an interview with KOTA Territory News, explaining that he wants the task force to study North Dakota's criminal justice system.
For a state of approximately the same size and demographics and a Native American population, they have half the number of people in prison. Why?
Derby says North Dakota spends more money on initiatives to steer people away from prison and more money on trying to make sure people who once served time don't end up reoffending. Derby also says laws on the books may be part of the population difference, including a truth in sentencing law which removed parole for 13 violent crimes and required inmates convicted of 10 other violent crimes to serve at least 85% of their sentences.
And then as a legislature, we talk about being tough on crime. So over the last 5 years I've been there, every year we bring new penalties, harsher penalties to bear. And so by doing that, you're creating a system where people stay longer in prison. So I think we got to take a look at all of that, and I'm confident. I think that was a good outcome from the prison vote here recently.
Are you, and this will be my final question on this, but are you worried that maybe some of the laws enacted are a little too heavy-handed and that's leading to an increased prison population?
Yeah, I wouldn't use the term heavy-handed, but because they were passed with valid reasons, but I think we need to revisit all those.
Lieutenant Governor Tony Van Huysen will serve as the chair of the task force over services. That task force will include lawmakers, a judge, law enforcement reps, a tribal representative, and more. In Rapid City, Blake Trolley, KOTA Territory News.
Chief Meteorologist David Stradling is tracking a warm end of the week, but big changes are on tap for the weekend. The details are in your accurate First Alert forecast next.
Now, the First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist David Stradling.
We have some clouds moving into the Rapid City area. They're over the Black Hills, and they're going to continue to pass through. These actually might set up to make for a pretty nice sunset, so get those cameras out and ready just in case. Now, the sun's been out all day, and it's been pretty nice. Not a whole lot happening on First Alert Doppler radar until you look over towards the Bighorns. There have been a few showers over there from the Bighorns through Sheridan County, but it's not really amounted to much. Just a couple of those light to moderate showers moving through. A little bit of an anomaly on our map there. It is 86 out the Rapid City Airport, 81 in Spearfish, 83 towards Gillette with 70s in Sheridan and over towards Wright. We take a closer look into the Black Hills, keeping those 80s in place all the way through the foothills. 81 towards Spearfish, 81 into Belfouche right now. Our wind speeds have been slightly breezy today in certain spots. It's not been anything widespread. And here's what we're looking at. The South Dakota Plains from Phillip up through Faith and into Lemon. Sustained winds above 20 miles per hour. Some isolated higher gusts there. As we go throughout the day tomorrow, there will be a slight breeze, but nothing too bad, 10 to 25 miles per hour. 80s are high temperature with mostly sunny skies. Now there may be a small shower that pops up right along the central Black Hills, could move close to Rapid City, so that is something we'll keep an eye on tomorrow afternoon. But for the most part, it should be a dry day for much of the region. We'll just keep an eye on the little shower if it does pop up. Now into Thursday, we're going to be having a lot of 80s across KOTA territory, maybe even close to 90 out towards Phillip. And by Friday, we're likely keeping the hottest day of the week there, as that storm system that's supposed to be moving in this weekend is a little slower on arrival, which is going to keep those temperatures on the warmer side for much of South Dakota. As you see 90s from Pine Ridge out towards Phillip into central South Dakota, the coolest spot Sheridan in the 70s. Now if you're going out to the Spearfish Canyon to check out the colors, the latest report that came out today, 100%. It's at its peak right now, so get out and enjoy it. Leaf drop is currently moderate. Plenty of yellows, some red and purple near the surface. Sunny and warm through the rest of the week. But there are some big changes coming up this weekend. Let's take a look at those changes. Here's a low pressure spinning up off the west coast of Washington and British Columbia there. That's going to continue to slowly meander southward until it brings in some of that energy towards us as we make our way into the weekend. So Friday, 6 p.m., not much happening. Plenty of sunshine, maybe a shower near the Bighorns. But we are going to be keeping an eye on that moisture as it does make its way into KOTA territory as we go into Saturday. That's when those showers will be more likely, especially later in the day when it becomes widespread. Saturday night too, we're going to be noticing some snow towards the Bighorns and maybe a couple of wet snowflakes mixing into some of the highest terrain of the Black Hills. That system will be moving out of the area by the time we get to Sunday, but we are going to be getting about a half inch or more of moisture, a well-needed moisture out of the system, so we'll take it. Tonight, low temperatures fall into the 50s for many. High temperatures tomorrow will be up into the 70s and some 80s. Mostly sunny skies, a shower possible around the Black Hills. The next 3 days will keep those temperatures in the 70s and 80s across northeast Wyoming, the Black Hills, and the hottest air out on the South Dakota Plains. You'll notice some spots near 90 on Thursday and for Friday. Now into Rapid City, we'll notice those cooler temperatures sliding into the weekend. 70 on Saturday, 60 Sunday, 55 Monday. Low temperatures Monday morning and Tuesday morning in the upper 30s. So that is something we're going to keep a very close eye on. And first alert you if needed, if you need to watch out for a frost in town.
But Lisa, I haven't heard you talk about snow around here yet.
Not at the lower elevations. Yeah, Saturday night, maybe up towards the Bighorns, so we'll see.
All right, thank you very much, David. Well, coming up, you're in luck this evening as we have a big old fish headed your way. Plus, we check in with the St. Thomas More girls tennis team as the Cavaliers gear up for the state tournament. Dick Quick has all that and more next in KOTA Sports.
And now, KOTA Territory Sports, sponsored by your local Ford stores.
Happy dinner time, everybody. The Sturgis boys and girls soccer teams return to the pitch tonight as they host Douglas New Underwood. The Scooper boys have won 6 of their last 7 and enter the match with a strong 8-3-1 record. And other high school soccer action this evening, the Spearfish boys and girls host St. Thomas More. The girls' state tennis tournaments will be played at next week in Sioux Falls with the Class A tourney on Monday and Tuesday, and in AA on Thursday and Friday. St. Thomas More is a defending Class A team champ. The Cavaliers did lose some top players off of last year's team, but still have a talented group. S team is led by senior Amity Strand, who plays at Flight 1. Behind her, Evie Reinecke and Aaliyah Strand are strong players at Flight 2 and 3. And head coach Chris Grant feels he has a group that can compete with the state's best.
We know we're going to have tough competition from both Sioux Falls Christian and Rapid City Christian. We can compete with them, and we have all season. But the fact of the matter is, you know, we have some developing players at our younger flights. We're expecting good things from them, but all I can tell you is I expect we're going to compete. No predictions on the outcome. I've told the girls, you know, get out there and do the best you can. Have fun playing tennis. But at the end of the day, as they say, what you're going to be remembered for is your teamwork and your sportsmanship, how you treat your opponent, how you win with dignity and lose with dignity. And I could not be more proud of our girls. They exemplify that every day.
State tennis coming up next week in Sioux Falls. The Benton County volleyball team knocked off Lyman in 3 sets last week to run its record to an impressive 14-4 on the season. The Warriors will look to continue their winning ways tonight when they visit Dakota. It should be a good match as the Cougars are also playing well. They currently check in with an 8-4 mark. Now let's take a look at this week's AA high school volleyball rankings. Harrisburg and Brandon Valley are the top 2 teams in the state. Sioux Falls, O'Gorman, and Watertown check in 3rd and 4th with a 14-3 record. Stevens moves into the rankings at the number 5 spot. And it's time now for another edition of Big Old Fish. And this evening, Cherish Jean Woolyard is our featured angler. Cherish reeled in this nice-looking 4-pound catfish. Congratulations, Cherish, and best of luck in the rest of your fishing endeavors. You too can be featured on Big Old Fish. Just send us your picture by using the Submit Photos link at KOTATV.com. Make sure and give us the name of the person who caught the fish, what kind of fish it is, how big it is, and where it was caught. Get those pictures in, and we'll get you on Big Old Fish. Nice looking catfish right there. Tonight, big night for college volleyball. We've got Black Hills State and South Dakota Mines squaring off over at the King Center. Should be fun. And high school volleyball as well tonight. Catch all the scores and highlights back here at 9 and 10. Major League Baseball playoffs got underway today with the best of 3 wild card series. In game 1, Tigers over the Guardians 2-1. Cubs beat the Padres 3-1. And in the 7th inning, Yankees up on the Red Sox 1-0. That's a look at sports. We'll be right back.
Be sure to tune in to KOTA Territory News at 6 on Fox. We'll tell you how South Dakota hospitals received last-minute funding for early detection cancer screenings.
You have to wonder to yourself, how long is this going to last?
Plus, one South Dakota man shares how he nearly lost money in a work-from-home scam.
That's when the red flag started going off.
Those stories and more are at 6 on Fox.
DoorDash has unveiled a new delivery robot. Meet Dot. Now, Dot is fully autonomous, all electric, about 1/10 the size of a car. It can reach speeds up to 20 miles per hour. It can use bike lanes, sidewalks, and roads to deliver orders in a timely manner. Dot will start delivering in the Phoenix, Arizona area with hopes to expand to more cities in the future. All right, a little more warmth before the cool air moves in here.
Yeah, summer lovers are going to be happy the rest of the week. We have highs likely in the 80s. Thursday and Friday, the warmest. Waking up in the morning, it's going to be warm. Our average low this time of year, that's in the 40s. We're actually going to be staying near 60. We'll warm up into the 80s the next 3 days, but big changes this weekend. Rain likely Saturday, especially in the afternoon and evening. Showers end Sunday morning, but temperatures drop into the 50s by Monday. We'll be in the 30s Monday morning and Tuesday morning, which could possibly bring us our first frost.
Oh,
gonna be chilly.
That's all I got to say about that. All right, thank you, David. That'll do it for us. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you tonight at 10.
Thanks for watching KOTA Territory News, your local news and weather authority.